Welcome to An Alternate Hugh. I'm Hugh Anderson, and this is some of what caught my attention this week. So as the pandemic continues to wreak havoc on the global economy, the impact is now getting very serious. Kentucky Fried Chicken is out of chicken. The company is choosing to forego television advertisements for their boneless chicken products because of shortages due to shortages of labor. The company does say they have enough chickens with bones to meet demand. I say thank goodness. So let's turn to something a little more serious, shall we? Reefer Madness. The Journal of the American Medical Association published survey data from 1993 to 2019 in 10 medical or adult use cannabis states. They were researching the effects of recreational legalization on the usage rate among underage users. And the survey found, consistent with prior estimates, that the use among underage individuals dropped, or at least remain the same in some cases. So it appears that after a state legalizes recreational weed, the black market shrinks exponentially. And the youth primarily acquire their cannabis from these sources. So as the number of illicit dealers decreases, so do adolescent usage rates. Because it's more difficult for a teen to walk into a dispensary and buy weed compared to just going to their local dealer. And this just came in. James Bailey, a professor of George Washington University, reported on the question of who wants to go back to the office. Bailey cites generational cohorts as a powerful analytic framework for understanding this. So let's start with the baby boomers. Believe it or not, they're currently 57 to 75 years of age, and they're retiring at a rate of 10,000 per day. And they're inclined to keep working if they can get contract work part-time after retirement. And they tend to be workaholics who got a lot of personal satisfaction out of their work. Gen Xers are now 41 to 56 years of age, and can you believe that? They prefer their independence and fewer rules. They seek balance to work and family, and they want to communicate directly with their leaders. And our Millennials are now 25 to 40 years of age. That I can't believe. They take an entrepreneurial approach to work, they prefer direct communication and feedback, and they want a social, friendly work environment. So Bailey's study concludes that millennials are by far the most opposed to returning to the office, boomers are neutral, and Gen Xers are most supportive. So why the difference among the generations? Well, of course, millennials were the first generation to be steeped in technology, and the difference for them between remote and performance doesn't compute. Technology has also influenced boomers as well, but compared to millennials, their technology was relatively tethered. They had to be at the desk to take a call or on the couch to watch TV with their 3 channels. Boomers are neutral about returning to the office because most boomers are on the far side of 65 and retirement is on their minds. They worked hard at home as they did every other day of their careers, but the pandemic provided a glimpse of what the retirement future could be away from the daily grind. So they're less eager to return to the office than would have been expected. Now, Gen Xers had MTV, crude video games, and rudimentary computers. So they're right between the millennials and the boomers in terms of wealth, cultural exposure, and entrepreneurship. But currently, Gen Xers occupy more than 50% of leadership positions globally, and their influence is swiftly growing. Gen Xers are in their prime period where experience meets opportunity. They spent the last 2 or 3 decades preparing for this moment, and they've learned one thing, the difference between performance and presence. A lot of people perform well, but they don't advance unless they're present. Gen Xers get the old adage that it's not what you know, it's who you know. They want to be at the office. They believe in the value of eye contact, water cooler conversation, and shrouded opportunism, all of which isn't possible in remote work. Networking, where the trust and admiration are built, can't happen through Zoom in their eyes. You've got to be there. Gen Xers want to go back to the office and don't claim their performance improved since working at home because they don't believe it. So now you know. Now finally, does automation threaten overall employment? If history is any guide, the adoption of technology tends to reshuffle rather than replace labor, according to Dave Rosenberg. True, in some cases jobs are permanently lost, but over the longer term, it seems those are more than offset by new employment opportunities created by technology, and the end result is a net gain in productivity. The manufacturing sector, for instance, is now churning out its highest output ever despite seeing employment shrink by about 3 million in the last 70 years. The share of manufacturing jobs is now less than 9% compared to 31% of the jobs back in 1951. In contrast, many service-producing industries have seen employment and their share of overall employment soar in those 70 years. Another positive development from an employment standpoint is that automation is being used in industry more and more as a collaborative tool, not a replacement tool. According to the International Federation of Robotics, the share of collaborative robots in overall new industrial robot installations around the world almost doubled from 2017 to reach an all-time high of 4.7% in 2019. In the service sector, too, automation and artificial intelligence is being used to empower workers and make them more productive in finance and insurance. This helps with fraud detection, risk management, and customer service, and even advertising. The process of automation is set to accelerate as firms hit a supply wall on labor amid the aging population in most advanced economies and even emerging ones. So that's it for this week. I'm going to spend a lot more time on automation and jobs in the future. But until then, thanks for tuning in. This has been An Alternate Hue. I'll see you next time.